Shit. Yes. Welcome to the Weird Octopus Podcast, a series of conversations with the humans who showed up before there was a map. I'm Perry, the founder of the Octopus Movement, and I do believe that nonlinear thinking is not just a way of creating possibilities, it's a way of being in the world. Each week, I speak with different founding members of our global human mycelium who explore who they are, why they think differently, and how they're shaping a future that cannot be built in straight lines. Well, let's meet today's guests finally, so I can start laughing again. I had to read this all of a sudden, Yvonne, and I was still in the flow. In talking with you, Yvonne Dam, we were talking about the day that I will die, so we were having fun. We were laughing about that. Um, Welcome to the Weird Octopus Podcast. As a founding member, Yvonne Dam, welcome here. Normally, there is no normally in my life, but I used to create a whole introduction with AI. Yvonne Dam is the most amazing, powerful business coach on the planet. She lives in Spain. And then there's a whole beautiful description. I'm not doing that anymore because it feels weird to have an introduction like that. I want to start immediately with asking you the question, what was the biggest emotional challenge in your life?
Well, thanks for having me, Perry. The biggest emotional challenge in my life. Um,
And you're not allowed to say being here because that
no.
that's
I
not a
think
good
for
one.
me it was when I moved abroad for the first time. It was quite a few years back. I was working at PwC, and I got bored, so I wanted to do something else. So I said to the partner I worked for, okay, I want to go on an assignment. And he was like, yeah, there's no assignment. You're what you do. We don't have assignments. I was like, okay, well then I'll go because I'm done. And he's like, okay, hold on, I'll see what I can arrange an assignment for you. So basically, he called someone he knew, and he said, oh, it's great news. You're going to New York for a couple of months. And I was like, oh my god, New York, it's so exciting, and woo. Um, and mind you, I until then I lived in the Netherlands. So, and for those of you who aren't Dutch, and maybe this is just my view on the Dutch people, but Dutch people, because it's such a tiny country, we feel very like, oh, we're very global thinkers because it's
Yeah,
so
we
tiny.
think
We
very
get,
highly of ourselves, right?
yes, that's
We
what we
think we
think.
know it all. Yes.
Oh God! And then you go abroad and you go like, whoa, oh.
And I work
Anyway,
at this big five companies, so I really know a lot, right?
I know a lot. Yeah. So I went to New York, and I didn't know, I must say, I didn't know a soul in New York, not privately, not for work. And I started off, and oh, and also, minor detail, I joined the sales and business development team. Never done sales in my life, but it was like, okay, all the big accounts, they need a sales and business development team. So you'll join then. I was like, okay, cool, let's do it. I went there, and I came there and I was in the office, and there was nobody from my team who worked in New York, because back then the States were already very virtual. But back in the Netherlands, it was like a long time pre-COVID, nothing was virtual.
Hmm.
So I was there, and I remember the first time. And so basically, picture this: you're in this big city and you think it's all exciting, but you don't know don't know a soul, not in your work environment and not outside of the work environment. But I was like, okay. And I stayed at the W on Times Square, an amazing hotel. And I remember the first weekend, I was like, okay, this is New York. I'm going to go out. And it rained. So I had a little umbrella and I went out, but I didn't know a soul. And I was very lonely in that very big city. So I went back up. This is a different story, but I have to share this. I went back up, and there was this elevator that went from the ground, so basically outside, into the reception area. And I was like, pouring with rain, blah, blah, blah. So I'm very disappointed, step into the elevator. And this guy says to me, it's a shitty day, isn't it? Clearly having a shitty day as well. And I said, yeah, it's a shitty day. And then, Perry, the doors open in the reception area, and his bride stands there. Oh, honey, how are you? And I was like, oh my God, the guy's getting married and he's telling me that it's a shitty day. Anyway, that didn't set the tone, but I always remembered it. But long story short, I
What
was
do you make of
very,
that? Do you think he had a shitty day getting married, or was he just
I
being very
actually,
American, polite to you, like, "Oh, look at her soaking wet. She's having a shitty day." What do you think happened with him?
honestly, I honestly think he was having a shitty day.
Really? Yeah.
Yes. And it
Oh,
was also, if I'm really, but this, I may make too much out of it, but because he was on his own in the elevator, which is quite, when you're getting married, there's always like people,
yeah. The shebang
and he's,
around you. You're
you're
right.
nowhere. There's
Yeah.
always someone with you, even if you go like, I want to be on my own. There's always someone. And this elevator open, and there's his wife, all bubbly and all like, and I thought, that's a lot of energy,
Welcome to
as
New
you go.
York.
so, so I almost, I really felt for the guy, because I honestly, I don't think he said it for me. I honestly felt that it was like, oh my God. Anyway, we'll never know. We'll never know whether it was doom, whether it was like the best wedding still to be continued
Maybe he's
ever.
very happily married now.
I do sincerely hope so.
Yes, me too.
Or that he discovered
But
before
this
saying
means
I do.
that going abroad outside of your comfort zone, so to speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of a
Yeah.
sudden in a new environment, that was a big challenge for you.
The I loved it, but like nothing helped. My computer didn't work, so I got IT friends. They were my first friends, IT department. And then I discovered, okay, so because I kind of was like shoved into that. Oh, here you've got like a person working with you, and that they were all like, I don't know what to do. There's no work for you. So I decided, well, the least I can do is start taking notes of all the meetings I attended, and then I started to just meet people in the office and follow up. So I slowly but surely I started to get to know people. I found out there was a Dutch desk, so at least there was another person that I could like speak to. They had a whole European and American and whatever network of friends. So I met friends through that. I went to these most amazing concerts on my own. I did a lot on my own, but it was really, if you don't know a soul, it's a very, very big city to be on your own. And then you have to kind of make it at work, and you have to make it on your own. And that was a challenge. And I must say it started as one of the worst experiences, and it ended as one of the best.
Yeah. And
So
is it now one of your specialties? I know you live in Barcelona in Spain. Um, Here you are, you went from country to country, you have had all these experiences. Is it now something when you think back at that beginning in the elevator, not the guy, but the rain and being alone and whatever, when you look back at that, are you now thinking like, yeah, I became very good in that. I don't care about these things anymore. Did that change? Or is it still every time you move to a different country in the beginning, you're like, what the fuck am I doing here?
I think it's a bit of both, but no, it's no. Every time I move, I'm like, oh, this is going to be cool. It's a new adventure. That's always, I'm always excited to go. And now we go as a family, which also really helps. And then when you just moved, you got all the things that just come with moving, all the admin and all, and that's always a moment when you go like, yeah, I could do without, for sure.
Yeah.
And then you settle, and it's like a curve, like it's the honeymoon. At first you're excited, then you go like, oh, okay, and then you settle. And every country has amazing things, and every country has shitty things, and it's just what you emphasize on or what really gets to you.
In my experience, there are two kinds of expats.
Mm-hmm.
The
I'm not an
whining,
expert, but yeah.
negative ones, the foreigners working in a different country because of their job and whatever an expat is, it's
Yeah.
some very much spoiled to the bone. The company is paying for everything, and they do think they're God's gift to their company because they're invited to come there. And so some of them are really, 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 really complaining shit persons that nothing is good enough, and others are submersing themselves into a new culture and find everything exciting and interesting. What is your experience with that? You've been to so many different places. I've always had that fascination to see other expats and their behavior, which not always made sense to me. How do you see that?
Yeah, it's definitely something which is there, and I think the more traditional expat, which I feel like those are expat, but you're right, everybody moving is basically an expat. The more traditional expats that are being, seconded to another country, sometimes every 3 years, have a huge expat package, and those are indeed very often the ones as you described. They complain a lot. The home country is always the best. They don't really integrate because they also know they're going back. Those are the people that go like, oh, I'm missing the hagelslag, the little chocolate things.
Sprinkles, yes, we
Yeah,
love the chocolate sprinkles in the
can't
Netherlands.
live without those.
Ah,
Um, and for me, it's always fascinating because I know quite a few of those. They're all when they go back, so to say, they always go back. They don't stay in a certain country.
yeah,
And whereas I think for a lot of other people like ourselves, we go for the work, but it's not because, oh, well, this is wow. It's more like, okay, it's a new country, it's a different environment, and it's going to be brilliant. And there's always exploring the new culture, trying to become part of it, and enjoying the life that is there, and actually enjoying the difference. Yeah,
enjoying the difference. I will get back to that one.
good.
Enjoying the difference. Yes, that's a
Yeah.
hook. I remember all of a sudden I was in the subway in Beijing when I was living there as an expat, and there was this horrible woman with her IE. IE is a Chinese aunt that is living or working in your house for absolutely nothing, and she takes care of
Hmm.
the grocery shopping, cooking, cleaning, everything you don't want to do, does the IE. And this woman was talking so negatively and so condescendent to her IE in the subway. And in China, you don't want to lose face, right? You don't do this in
Hmm.
public. You don't do it privately, but you hell never ever do it on public. And I went to her and I asked her, I said, "What's wrong with you? Probably at home you're nothing. You're in a suburb of a big city, like many of you, and here you all of a sudden feel that you're the queen, the princess in the castle, and you're treating people in their own home country like this. You're a guest. You should be ashamed of yourself." She was scared the hell out of her. It's like, that was a little bit too much of a Dutch confrontation, and we're very good at that abroad as well, knowing it all and being very blunt and very direct, right?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah. Well,
have
it does diminish the longer you live abroad, I would say.
Yeah. But I always play that card if I want to say something nasty. I'm like, "Hey, I'm Dutch. I can't help myself, but you're a complete asshole." And that really works. Okay. What was the hook again that I had to remember?
Something about being different or valuing the differences. I don't know.
We both forgot. But I was thinking to link that to the question. So what is the octopus in you, Yvonne? Which is an interesting question, people, because Yvonne and I have a lot of contact together and it's so much fun, and we have digital coffee together and whatnot. And the topic of being nonlinear or not often is a topic in our conversation. So I'm very happy to ask in this podcast, what is the octopus in you, Yvonne?
What's the octopus? I don't know. Actually, I do know. I think I have a very linear way of non-linear thinking.
Okay, go for it. Now I'm curious. You have a linear way of nonlinear thinking. I have a
Yeah.
I have an
So
idea around that, but what does it mean?
okay. So I have both in me. I'm very good at, following a structure. But I also am very good at looking at chaos and creating something out of that chaos. Whereas if you're only always thinking linear, you can't handle chaos because it's not there. And I actually like it when things are completely different and totally, well, for others maybe messed up. That's really what I like. Um, and I'm a very, very big empath. And that's not always, it's a gift, but it's sometimes also really a curse.
Why is
Um,
that? Can we dive into the empath thing? I think there's a language issue with the word empath. I think a lot of people
yeah.
immediately when they hear the word empath, something happens. With me, it something happens. What happens with you with the word empath?
Hmm. For me, you have being empathic and you
Hmm.
have empath, right? And for me, an empath is actually it's only 1% of the total population that is truly empath. Doesn't really matter to me, but it's that you can be so connected to someone that you really feel what they're feeling. So
Yeah.
it's like, for example, when you would turn very sad, I would feel sad as well, and I can voice that. But it all, and that could be in a conversation, right? And I think more people have that, but I can also have it sometimes when we're not having a conversation. So I have it with clients as well. Sometimes I'm just walking and their name constantly pops up, and I don't feel happy. So I know I need to check in to say what's happening with you, because and then when people aren't used to it, they go like, no, nothing is happening. And I'm like, okay. And then they go like, well, now you're here. And then, you know,
Since you've
so,
asked,
yeah, finally I can share. But it's really, you can feel the room, you can feel how someone is feeling. So for example, if I have let's say I have a conversation with someone who might potentially want to work with me, and I always ask questions to understand the situation and to understand more. And then of course it's a first conversation, so a lot of people will not tell you everything because well, um,
hey,
and I don't have to. Yeah, that makes sense. They don't have to tell me everything, but I can feel it.
hmm
So if they're like skirting over something, and I don't have to, but I can just say, oh, it makes you very sad. I can feel it. Sometimes I even get tears because someone is so moved. Um, so yeah, that's what being an empath
when is
really
it a
means.
curse then? When is it a curse?
Well, sometimes you just you don't always have to. It's intense. You
Yeah.
don't always have to feel it. It's very intense and it's not easily switch
Can you
offable.
switch it off? Can you switch it off and can you say to yourself, not now. No.
No, and it kind of like when you are under a lot of people, you kind of you can feel very drained.
So
Um,
when you're in New York, you pick up the whole vibe as well when you're walking there.
you could, but I kind
Yeah.
of like do something to not let it get to me because otherwise it's undoable.
Yvonne, do you know that this is very octopus-like?
I know that's why, but you asked it, and that's why I'm sharing it.
There are
I said
stories.
linear and non-linear. That's I know what you asked, so I thought I actually had a very good
I'm
answer
always
for
trying to
once.
convince Yvonne that she sees herself as being very nonlinear, and now I have more ammunition to do that. Um, Being connected so strongly to people, and what I always find, I think I have the same thing, to be honest, and I don't want to come over as, oh, I have that too, no, but we know this from each other, and it's very intense, but I love it. I love it to listen to someone and it has this story, and then after the story I'm like, but what about this then? And they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was trying not to tell you.
This is not, and it's there's a story. There are many stories about octopi that are in captivity in an aquarium, and they can recognize human beings through the glass, through the water, and they tease humans that they don't like. So they squirt water, to people that where they have this emotional connection with that they but don't feel well. It's it's incredible. There's a new movie on Netflix. I forgot the name. It's from a very famous book about an octopus in
Yeah,
captivity.
I just saw the movie.
What do you think? Was it a beautiful movie?
It was, and it was also, but I like the concept a lot.
Yeah.
Um, and I also really liked that but basically, just in short, it's basically what you're describing now, right? It's an octopus that one person, he likes the person really a lot, but he can tell she's hurting, and then another person comes along and he tells, and you he's like, he's also hurting, and in his own way he's bringing them together. But I like the fact that octopus in, oh, I will, maybe if you're not watching it, can I finish now my sentence, otherwise I
No,
give it
of course
away.
not. Don't be a movie spoiler.
Yeah, okay, well, the end is good.
The end is good. Long story short, it's a good movie. And you know what a fun fact is, Yvonne? That we have a founding member. It's Kimberly Butler. She's a photographer in New York. I met her there, which was awesome. And her best friend's son is the guy from the movie.
Oh,
He's
really?
the younger dude that came to his older
That's
whatever.
nice.
Isn't that
Yeah,
cool? Yeah, I
it
told her
is very
immediately,
cool.
I want to interview him, talking about octopi and about the movie.
It's very
Anyway,
nice.
you're so
Yes.
nonlinear. So but don't get me wrong. I think nonlinear, everybody is a nonlinear thinker. Every human also thinks in a nonlinear way. We're just very much conditioned, educated to look at the linear part of everything. That's how we operate at work most of the time. That's how we teach at school. And I think a lot of interesting people have a perfect balance of both, where it's very useful to use your linear thinking to organize things and get shit done, and to have your nonlinear thinking to allow chaos, to allow connections that are all of a sudden, etc. So that's a beautiful octopus in you, Yvonne.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have the majority, if not all of my clients are also nonlinear thinkers, so that's nice.
It's not by accident, I think.
No, and the funny thing was, I didn't even. I mean, I've never advertised that or went looking for it. It's more I attract
It
it, and it's
naturally
nice.
comes your
Yes,
way. How interesting is that?
yeah, and
Yeah.
I love it because it also keeps things interesting.
Talking about interesting and nonlinear thinking, I think a lot of these octopi are also very curious. Curiosity is one of their favorite topics, things to do. So, what are you curious about in today's world?
Oh gosh, so much.
Here you go.
I mean, for real? I mean, honestly, what's not to be curious about? I would be almost say,
Okay,
right?
let's reframe the question. What is something you said, let's not be curious about that, which is a
Hmm.
good question as well. What is something you would say, let's not be curious about that, please. Let's not do that.
Oh, that's very tough. How can you not be curious about it?
It's also not working, isn't it?
No, because then it makes you even more curious to me.
Yeah.
Well, I have no, but that's I'm curious about that. Okay, I'll tell you mine that I don't want to be curious about, but I'm secretly very curious about. So I was having a conversation about this the other day because there's a lot of people that change, right? Or there's a lot of, let me say it differently, there's a lot of, life is messy, so you have good times, you have bad times, sometimes you bump into something and you're not happy about it, and the people I surround myself with mostly know that often they need to change to be able
Hmm.
to cope with whatever difficulty or adversity is on their road, right? But there are also people that don't change or that don't self reflect or that don't think about, oh, hey, something in me may be, you know, causing this. I would be very curious to understand that better.
Yeah.
but I'm deciding I'm not curious.
That should be a research thing in the octopus movement because I think that is a very interesting angle. What makes people not being curious? That's basically right. Something is
Yeah,
happening, and like I'm not changing, and I'm fighting against what is happening. I'm not curious. I don't want to move. I don't want to go into any direction. It's everybody's mistakes,
that's the
but
thing.
me. What
I'm
is that?
I'm good. Yeah,
And life is
that's
messy, Mick. You're absolutely right. Mick is sending us messages and she's saying life is messy. Life is very messy. So
oh, I didn't see it there.
how if life is so messy, how can you not move with that messiness, right? How it's almost like standing in the ocean and all the waves are coming to you and you're not moving. Like,
Yeah,
those fucking waves, what are they doing here? Right? How can you not surf the wave? It's so weird.
that's and I'm honestly, yeah, curious about it, but decided let it go because I don't
Yeah,
understand
because
it well.
but you're saying let it go also because you're thinking, it's I've been curious about this actually a lot and it never brought me anywhere, so I'm letting it go. Is
Well,
that it?
it's more, there's so much to be curious about that might be more helpful on my path.
hmm
Yeah,
So,
but
yeah.
it's an interesting. It's interesting, and
It's interesting.
I would then be curious. Is life then easier?
If
You know?
if you're just saying it's not me,
Yeah,
it's not
it's not.
me, people.
Whatever. I'm okay. I'm totally fine. Or are you then missing some depth? Are you having missing like the good conversations, the deep ones, the ones
Okay,
deep
for
into the
everyone
night?
that is looking at this podcast or listening and you're thinking, I'm that guy or woman or human being, please send an email to the Octopus Movement. We want to talk to you. We want to do research with you. We want to know how this works because this it triggers a thought with me out of the blue where there are a lot of these I find now on social media that everybody's saying, I know what to do. You need to listen to me and I
Oh
figured it all
yes.
out, right?
And you don't
No
even
way.
know what they do or what their credentials are, or or whether
And
they
and
just
I
thought that's a nice quote.
and I'm always thinking, isn't it nice to figure it out yourself and not listening to someone who says this is how it works?
Yeah,
But um oh, now I lost it.
you had a great
I
thought
wanted to say
about not being
something very
curious.
clever and I lost it. Shit. I lost it. Oh, okay. Well, whatever. Oh, but it was very profound.
It will come back, I'm sure.
Yeah, one day. If you could whisper a sentence into everybody's ear at the same time, globally, in their own language, what would you whisper to everyone?
I would say to them, and I'll look into the camera to give it a bit more power. You're good as you are. You're good enough, just like you are. Embrace your difference because that makes you unique and will help you succeed.
That's it, right?
Yes,
How
I
cool would it be
truly
to
believe
actually
it.
be able to do that, to press a button like and I'm always thinking about the movie Her, where the guy falls in love with his operating system that's in his do you know that movie? It's so awesome. It's a very old movie and it's about a phone with a little device in someone's ear and they talk with their operating system like Siri, but there wasn't Siri back
Yeah,
then. And the guy fell in love with the operating system of his phone and he really thought she was there. And I thought it was so cool. But I keep thinking about this question if you could whisper a sentence into everybody's ear. And I'm a visual thinker, and it would be like there's this special studio somewhere in the world with a mic, and when you say something, it goes into all these OS
I would
devices and it
love that.
whispers that to everyone. Wouldn't
When
that be
they wake
cool?
up first thing and before they go to bed, you're good enough just as you are. Embrace your uniqueness. It makes
You're
you
you're
stand out.
fucking awesome. Let it go. You know, it's do your thing. Yeah.
Yeah, your way. I think life would be so much better if people not only would do that, but would accept it from others as well.
Yeah, I think that the second part is even more important, maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and it's also because a lot of people don't feel accepted that they suppress their own uniqueness and individuality because, whoa. But if you go like, well, this is me unapologetically, and I'm actually pretty freaking awesome,
And what that
you know?
person doing is looks very weird to me, but that's
Yeah,
that person. So I just
precisely.
take that thought and I judge. Everybody judges, but I don't cancel the thought because it's I think it's not possible. But I just isolate the thought and let it go. Can we do that, please? Can we do that also
Yeah.
in education? That would be nice.
Oh, that would be very nice.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Yvonne.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, not just
My
in the
pleasure.
podcasts, but also in the movement as a founding member and as a very good friend. And if you're listening and you feel a spark, follow it, please. Nonlinear thinking is not a strategy, it's a kind of love, and it grows where we share it. Thank you,
Yeah.
Yvonne.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much,
everyone.
Barry.